Right. Let's get back into things. First off, we are going to start off with the installation of MySQL. So the first thing we want to do is get ourselves a browser up. Now there's several options for you, but the one that we are going to use is MySQL. Go downloads. Now we don't need the commercial one. We need the, I think it's a GPL. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. So there's two things in here that really matter. One is the MySQL community server. And then two is the MySQL workbench. Those are the most important things that we need for this to work. Let me see here. Yeah. Alright, so first things first, let's get the server installed and downloaded. I think this is the latest version. I'm trying to make sure before I click it. Yes. I did not want the 32-bit. There we go. 64-bit. That's what I really want. Yeah, 64-bit installer. Now you do have to sign up and log in for this. So let me use my login really fast. And then the other thing we're going to need is a workbench. So the server is like the brain, and the workbench is the tool. That's basically how it breaks down. Now there is no 64-bit tool. Yeah, so we can just download the regular 32-bit. Alright, and while these are downloading, I will be right back. And I'm back. Alright, let's minimize that. I want to check on that for 1 second. That's weird. Okay, so they've both downloaded. We're gonna obviously install the server itself first. Well, I guess it's not obvious because there's a chance we could install the tools first. That's reasonable. And boop. And boop. Now, you can just do the typical. Let me see what the typical default is. Yeah, that's more than enough. You don't need all the crappy documentation. The only reason we even need the server is so MySQL provides it's a database. So the competitors are things like PostgreSQL, Microsoft SQL, and things like that. The reason that we go with MySQL is nearly everything supports it. That's one big reason. The second thing is that it's free, and it's been free since the beginning of time. I've been using MySQL over a decade, it feels like. And also even though now Oracle owns it and they have this enterprise version and this whole thing on that side, it really doesn't necessarily do justice for their start and how they got started and where they came from and things like that. Let me do one more thing real fast while I'm doing that. While I'm thinking about this. All right, there we go. So, let's see here. Is there a little pop-up or anything? No. The installer shouldn't really necessarily take super long, but it's definitely gotta like consume some resources and stuff. So does anyone have any questions about MySQL or MySQL alternatives or anything like that while we're waiting for this package to actually install? Because if not, oh man, Twitch's new rules are so stupid. Like normally I'd be like, oh yeah, so we'll just put some music on and we'll listen to music together while we watch this thing pass. But if I do that, then it's like an entire 30-minute block gets silenced. I mean, I get what they're going for, but before, I had no problem with it because I took it straight from live stream. As long as they did the same thing that YouTube does, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what's really missing. Is like YouTube has this great tool that allows you to. Why is it taking? I mean, it's like just sitting there. Normally, when it sits there, like there's like a pop-up in the back or something that's like, oh yeah, you gotta approve this thing. Oh, there we go. It maybe was unpackaging itself to get to that point. There we go. But so like YouTube allows you to when you get your final version, it allows you to strip out all the songs and stuff. And it's pretty accurate. Like there's some times where it cannot strip out songs, but out of all the videos I've made, I think there's only been one video that I tried to upload to YouTube as a highlight or as a just an upload, and only one of those videos was unable to be modified and remove the audio, songs only. So, and I'm fine with that. It's like 1 out of 20. You know, that's a pretty good system, in my opinion. But Twitch is just using the service that kind of cheats, and when it detects a song, it just mutes the whole 30-minute block. Like, your video is now secretly published into 30-minute segments, up to a maximum of 2 hours. And then from there, it seems like they knew this Amazon merger was coming too, because the whole thing is kind of fishy. You know, right before Amazon merger comes along, they do all this stuff, and then the day the Amazon merger occurs, they're like overloaded. I'm not sure if they were overloaded because um, they had actual issues or what. So that looks like MySQL has installed. Let me check my program files. Come on. MySQL. Yep, I see MySQL folder. I see the MySQL server. Um, cool. All right. And then let's get the workbench. Now, the server itself, all you're going to see when you install it, and I don't want to switch over to the thing, is basically, if you looked in the folder, you're going to see MySQL, and then you're going to see MySQL Server 5.6, because that's what we're on right now. And then you're going to see a command line client times 2. You just basically see one that's Unicode and one that's Shell. That's the only difference. So, because it's a service, any of these things is like really a service. So, let me show you how we actually manage it while this is installing. So the workspace is going to do actually all the work of interfacing with it, but you might like have some issues because it might not start up right away, and you might not want it to start up right away. So, because otherwise, this is eating amp restarts on your computer every single time you load your computer. So sometimes what you do is you can put it on a different drive, or different OS installation like I've done, although this is like my primary one now. Come on. Oh my god. You know what's the worst part about this is I have 8 gigs of RAM and an amazing sound card. I just cannot believe, or an amazing video card, I mean. I just cannot believe that the streaming with Arrow disabled is affecting the system that much. I don't believe it. I think it's just these packages are taking so long. Oh, man. Don't forget, guys, you guys can ask as many questions during these regular sessions as you want. So even if you're like just wanting to talk during some of this boring stuff, I have no problem with that too. Although I think my settings require you to be a registered user to talk. So if you're just scanning channels, you won't be able to talk to me. Which I've thought about changing it, but I think it's better for everything. Alright, so in here, what was I doing? Oh yeah, we want to look at our services. Because it's going to add a new service. And if you don't understand what services are, the best way to think about a service is there's 2 types of threading. Well, there's a lot more now. But a long time ago, when Windows first started, there was really only 2. And some older OSs still use the basic of 2. So the 2 are front and like active threads, things that you're like using. So like you are looking at this program, so this is a forward thread. This is being installed right on your screen. This is a forward thread. But there's also all this stuff that's occurring in the background that like Windows has to do and all these other things have to do to keep all of this stuff working. Okay? So those are background threads. Okay? You can think of it as foreground and background. And then, in addition to that, now they've added a bunch of other standard sets, which are like prioritizing the threads, and now you have multiple CPUs, so you have multiple CPU threads, and all this other stuff. The thing that we are looking for is a MySQL service. I got so many M's. Because without that MySQL service, what we did that first install, I'm going to have to go back and redo it because it did not install enough. Am I just crazy? Am I just not seeing? I mean, they're alphabetical. I'm just double checking. Alright. I don't see it. So that means that the SQL Server is probably not running. Yep. I'm just checking my my short things. Now the other thing we can do is, that is so weird that it's not running. I'm gonna pull up that MySQL page and I'm just gonna check because yeah, I got you, Oracle. MySQL, the earn window. This is what we. Interesting. Didn't we choose MySQL Soft Server installer? Or did we choose something else? Now I'm starting to doubt myself because I'm looking at these and I see only two 32-bit installers. What we might have done is install the 64-bit shell, which is not the same. And that would have been my mistake and my sleepiness. So we want this one because this is the full install. The web install would mean that it installs like a little package. You can choose this one if you want. These are the same, but here's the difference. So the first one, if you read it, it's the web install. So it's going to install like a downloader for people that might have slower internets or less reliable internets. And then, oh, see, look, if you have an online connection while running MySQL installer, choose this. If you do not, choose the other one. So one is like the full package. The other one is a small package that allows it to go get. Now I have a ridiculously fast internet. Like I'm already running all this other stuff. Let me, because I just changed it recently. I was at 150. I always like Speakeasy. Come on. So I used to have 150. I just downgraded to 105 because I'm like, you know what? I have a professional grade firewall that only even handles 100 megabit connections, and I just don't see myself having a 1 gig firewall anytime soon, which would be the next speed in order for me to handle 150. So I just was like, eh. I like my Cisco ASA way too much. Alright, see how fast it already downloaded before it even get this other junk up. Okay, so the workbench is done. Alright, it had some sort of error on their end. Maybe Speakeasy website's having an issue. I don't like using my own company, and I have Comcast Xfinity, so it's kind of like cheating. I mean, they're like testing their own shit. You know, it's kind of lame. It's like, oh yeah, tell me how fast you guys are. But let's see what they say. Now I'm already using some bandwidth because I'm, downloading stuff. I'm uploading streams and all this other jazz. So now that's really bad. I don't think I've ever seen it that slow. That is a horrible, horrible speed. They gotta be having some sort of a problem, and that would explain why things are going a little slower than they should. Yeah, it's like 12 download, 13 download. That's hogposh. Yeah. Now, and keep in mind, what am I using? I'm eating up right now, I think, 5 megabytes, something like that. So I'm like eating up 5 just on my upload. But I might have to call them. Let me try Speakeasy one more time. It might be not my computer, but really them who is going slow. I just want to make sure because I switched it over. And I haven't really done a test since the switch over to be sure that, yeah, this is definitely an issue on their side. It's not. Just go with the speed test right now. I don't really like him. Yeah, Ookla, I gotcha. Okay, so here's the workbench as it loads. You can see that it's very easy to look at. It's got a little overlay right now, but you got your documents. You got if you need to move databases over, that's where you do it here. Most of the stuff you're gonna be doing is in connections and utilities, and they've adjusted this so it's more intuitive because people used to have a little bit of a problem before. Okay, let's begin test. Used to have a little bit more trouble. Come on. I wonder if it's just my computer that it's not being able to push out 100 right now. No, it can't be. Alright. So what you gotta do first is you gotta add a server, and then you gotta do stuff. And before it wasn't as intuitive, and that's why I was gonna show you. But the newest, latest version, this looks more like what I was looking for. There we go. And we have to accept a license. This seems very nice. Alright. Oh yeah, I'll select those are actually defaults. Alright. Oh, that's interesting. See, Comcast. No, no. Yeah. It's only showing 30 for Comcast. Or only 30 on this one. Which I trust a little bit more than Comcast. For all I know, Comcast is doing some weird ass shit. Still, that is significantly slower than it should be. That's one thing that's. And now you know about Comcast is like this whole like maximum rate bullshit. but I'm not happy with that. Those numbers are a fraction of what they should be. All emergency no updates are available. Okay, so it should let me just continue. Let's see what else it's got. Oh, I gotta add and modify products. I gotta like read. Oh look, and now it lets me choose 64-bit on the server. I think. Let me just see here. ODBC connectors I actually care about. Oh, it would have allowed me to install Workbench with this, which is really nice. That's a new change too, because before you could not install. Um, Twitch is saying we'll begin to remove past broadcasts from Twitch servers at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. The day before my birthday. Well, I really appreciate you guys doing that, you know, right before my birthday and all. It's like super, super nice of you. I'm gonna go with these two. Do I not have Visual Studio installed? Clearly, I just haven't had. Alright, let's just install it. You guys do not need those last two things that I clicked. Once again, I actually do some things that are not necessarily in there. Things you need are, you probably need the ODBC connector. You need MySQL connector, and you need the MySQL server, and you need the Workbench tools. Those, what was that, 4 things are the like bare minimum to function. Alright, let me check something really fast. Oops, wrong channel. Let me open a new one of these. I'm just curious what's going on. No? That's weird. I was trying to see if there was a notification. Okay. I figured while that stuff is doing, I might as well see if there's a problem with the internet right now. So I apologize. If you guys ask a question right now, I will definitely answer it. We sign in. I'd be really upset if someone modified my internet below 105 for some reason. I mean, it's one thing for me to lose 50 because I choose it, but if they put me down to 50 or worse, I would just... Dealing with Comcast is so annoying. I'm not saying they have bad customer service. I'm just saying they could do a whole lot better. But it's not nearly as bad as like, oh my god, those what, iBuyPower now? Yeah, iBuyPower. Woo! Those people. They are crazy. Alright. My Xfinity TV. Or my internet. Let me manage that. I have used 767 gigabytes of data as of today. I don't believe that to be true. Especially when my usage and... What do you got going on, Boomy? My usage... Oh, we're done with that. Let me continue. Start workbench after setup. No. I want you guys to see how it starts up. Normally... Alright, now let's see if there's a MySQL service. Because if there's no MySQL service, we're still working through the problem. We always want to make sure. Let me just refresh this because clearly this list is old. Wait. I just refuse to believe it's still not installed. How is that possible? It should be under MySQL. I just cannot believe it still has not installed this. Are you effing kidding me? Alright, maybe it's... Let me check something real fast. Maybe they changed it. Because I see now MySQL Server, but it's still command line. That is just so weird. Like, I mean, they changed a lot and made things easier. But, really? This part? What's going on with them? What was their logic and thinking? Alright, so let's just try to set this workbench up real fast. Local host 127.0.0.1 is the same thing as localhost. We don't need that. We don't need that. Test connection. Test connection. Yeah. That is what I was worried about. Come on. Oh, now my thing's playing weird. Thank you, Mr. Mouse, being all jacked up for a second. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Next time, let's do it as a party. Alright, let's do this one more time. In fact, I'm not even going to go that route. Did it just refresh something? No. I am going to go to downloads. And we're going to figure out where the hell the server went. Because we have, like, the server package. So, I want to see where this crazy ass... See, look at that. We have, like, 2 of them. And this one's huge. It has, like, everything. I've never had this much problem installing MySQL. I'm so glad I went through this process because they changed it so much. I am literally dumbfounded that it's not a service. Now, I guess they could have made it just not a service anymore. But when I click on just the key elements of MySQL, there's like an installer like configured into my thing. That's so weird. see if there's any questions. Oh my goodness. Someone is so kind to spam all that stuff. Wow, they're so nice. Well, I guess they just need to be... I'm not even going to waste my time with them. They're banned. And the messages are all deleted. Look how good that was. It's so easy. It's me, the band. Alright. Wex installer. Uh-huh. I'm gonna check out, see if he has even a profile. I mean, I guess he does because he got like shit up. But why would he like go into other people's thing and be like retarded? No, 0 follow. Oh, he's following 6 people, but he has no followers. Yeah. What a moron. It's me, a moron. Okay. MySQL server. I want to install the MySQL server. And it's all here. So, what's the effing problem? It did not install before? It's everything. They're saying everything is installed. Did it say restart the computer? I did not see that. Why is all of these sessions have such stupid, stupid? Oh wait, what just happened? I was like, when something. Oh, because I had new connection set up. Okay. Interesting. Alright, let's look at the website one more time. I've never, like I said, I've never had this much problem with MySQL before. Usually you just run the installer and then poof, it is on there. It auto starts. So it's a little weird and frustrating. Okay. And this is where we actually ended up last time. Like, this is the one that's like, give me the web or the other choice. And yeah, see, it says it can connect to all these things. Okay. Alright, so let me... There is one other possibility. This bitch installed it to C drive. 6.54. Motherfucker. You bullshit bastards installed it to see, didn't you? How dare you? Alright, before I put that, let me... There's no executable. No executable. There is an executable, but I don't need an executable for it. 827. Alright, let me just go back to the C drive and see. 126, maybe not. These are all 126. But what about this? 615. It's a little bit closer. I think I did have to do an update back in June. Alright. Yeah. Wait, did my thing just kick out? No, it did not. Let me refresh this page. Make sure I can see you guys, because my screen's all weird on that side now. I'm just trying to think of what could be holding us back, honestly. Alright, so first of all, we gotta close this, because the workspace only works if there is a SQL server running to connect to. I have one idea left. I'm actually checking my installed programs. Alright, so there it is. It's saying it's installed. MySQL Server was installed today. Let me try to change the installation. Okay. It just ran right through. No, don't start the workbench. There we go. MySQL installer. This problem is installed correctly. It's definitely on the F drive. Okay. The installer part is on the F drive, at least. That's all I really learned from that. Wow, what is going on with my... There's got to be some sort of internet issue, because I'm getting like weird slowness in general. Now it's saying I'm offline. don't believe this. Whatever they're doing, I don't believe it. Alright, and I wonder if that's like affecting. I wonder if there's a problem with my computer or something that's affecting it also. Let me, a little frustrating. She says Steam quality is excellent. Back. Add modified products. Five point six and the connectors are installed. I mean, the only thing I'm not space available on drive 388 gigabytes. Let's see which drive has 388 gigabytes. Disk 2. So it's trying to install it here. I've just never ever seen it do this before. So frustrating. The only other thing I can think about is let me look at the install instructions to see if there's anything weird that I'm missing. Nope. Nope. Mhm. 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 This whole offline thing is driving me nuts. I keep saying I'm offline. It says stream quality excellent. Offline. I don't even know what to do about it. Oh, there we go. Now I'm not offline. Yeah, I mean, weird. Alright, so because it's supposed to automatically create connectors in MySQL Workbench, and that also did not occur. Let me launch Workbench to see if, like, it has since then. No, it has not. Yeah. cancel. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I could look at actually here. Because if not, I think I'm gonna have to like, I don't know why. Let's see, there's no new. I have to create a new one. And then there's the new connection. So no, it did not create a connection system in mind. So here's what I'm gonna do. The only thing I can think about that would be different than what we've already done is if we go back, remove Microsoft products, remove all of them, and then we're gonna have to just redo it. I'm not sure why. Maybe that first server install like jacks something up, even though the server should be just as it was. Yeah, it clearly did something weird with the install. So let's give it a second, and then we will go from there. I'm just checking to see what else I have installed on this machine. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, for anyone who has an NVIDIA graphic controller, you guys really got to get GeForce Experience. It is amazing. It will, for most, if not all games, it will actually help you configure your video card settings for that game to be perfect for the video card you have. So there's no more guessing about like, well, what's the optimal situation for my video card? You know, no more. I mean, you might still use Optifine if you got weak cards and stuff like that, or if you're trying to like do high def resolution or something. But at least now you know what your card, or what you, based on what they believe your game should be optimal for your video card, which they spend a lot of time testing. Let's not uninstall the installer. Yes, I understand that can't be done, but it does me no good if I can't run it because it's not starting up. So let's go back. Let's refresh this page. So, wait. I still see this stuff. Why is... I gotta refresh. I shouldn't see this garbage. Okay, so the installer is the only thing that remains. Nope, cancel. I didn't want to uninstall it. I was trying to do a change. Canceling. Yes, I do. Except I don't want it to do anything. Let's do a change. Yes. In theory, this should be faster than loading that installer program all over again. I don't think there's an issue with the installer. I'm hoping. I cannot wait till we get back onto like pure coding. Like the setup garbage is. I knew I had to go through this part, and I'm like, I already have this stuff installed, and I can't see your issues, and your issues would be different than my issues. So I created this special drive to do this. I just did not expect such a ridiculous... Oh, it's asking me to prompt, and nothing worse than when it prompts and doesn't tell you. That's so utterly frustrating. Alright, install my service products. Execute. Uh-huh. Oh my god. This is what it normally looks like when you install it. Um, so developers the default that you need. It gives you the workbench. Oh my god, that's so perfect. It gives you so just choose default. I have no idea why we're going through this craziness to begin with. Yes. Yes, let's do all of this stuff. It's awesome. Why did you not do this to begin with? Why did you have to make it so excuse me, hard? Alright. Did I ever install Mumble? Alright, for those who don't know what Mumble is, it's our version of TeamSpeak slash Ventrilo. It's a voice chat software. It's very, very easy. It's faster and better than the other ones, I think. Download Mumble. Mumble client for Windows. I just want the client. I don't know what this Mumble crap is. I think that SourceForge one is the one I actually wanted. I just want to make sure 1.2.8 is the latest version. You know, I love SourceForge, so that right there is one reason we're using it. Yep, 1.2.8. Perfect. Works for me. So yeah, I would just go to sourceforge.net project/mumble. But anyway, this is what we use instead of Ventrilo or TeamSpeak. It's lighter weight on your machine, so people that have weak machines usually can run Mumble better than they can run the other ones. Yeah, we don't need server. Another installation is in progress. That is 110% true. It is such a true story. Yes, I want to cancel that. Alright, so we're going to retry after this is done. So let's just let it go through this process. I think this process is going to be slower because it's like downloading the stuff from the internet because it's the web one. I just do not. Whatever. You know, server's on there, so it says install success. So let's just skip ahead and see if we can see the things that we were looking for before. Starting with program files, MySQL, the server. Okay, I see the server there. So now we're going to go to manage on the computer so that we can see services. Now, true, services may be installed at the end, but yeah, it looks like it's not installed them yet, unless I refresh the list and then it's there. No. Yeah, I just want to make sure they didn't rename it to like SQL My or something. People sometimes do that. It drives me nuts. It's crazy. Alright, so we have the ODC connectors, which is required. Such an exciting detail list. Let's see what we got here. Let's go all the way to the top. All the way to the top. I see lots of F's. I just want to make sure I don't see any C's. No C's, no C's, no C's. No C's, no C's. Everything F. Alright, so it actually says that it's done. Alright, so let's scroll down. We don't want to see a C in the bunch, especially on this crap. Now, for you, I'm only doing this because I'm thinking that my FC drive configuration might have been weird because it's so used to. And you know, it's only about lazy programmers. Lazy programmers don't put OS drive or current directory or something to catch what you're currently using, and that causes like a massive amount of issues when you don't use the C drive as your like main one. And that's why most people use C drive. Alright, so next. Oh, it's got to do initial configuration on it. Perfect. I bet that's what it did do before. Because it looked like it was installed. It just didn't get the configuration. Ah, yes. This is the stuff that it didn't do. Muy bueno. So really, this and this, if these show advanced options gives like a control over to if it starts them, that's all I really care about. Test machine. Let's just do. We will be creating additional users later. We will never use root, so I'm going to make it a secure password. Let me just swipe it over here real fast. Oh, shoot. I forget that that button does that. Okay, good. It didn't do it. Alright, next. This is what the stuff that's not done before. Start the SQL at the system startup. Make sure that's deselected. Run Windows as a standard system account. So you would use. Nah, you don't have to worry. And the Windows service name, MySQL 5.6. That's perfect. Error log, perfect. Perfect. So we can just skip. I think these most are advanced options anyway. That last page at least was, I believe, advanced options. So weird. It like installed MySQL and then like didn't complete the configuration process. That is bull hockey. Samples and examples. I hate samples and examples. Normally they let me like to deselect samples and examples, because I'm always like, I don't care about your stupid samples. I've worked with MySQL for like so long. The last thing I need is your examples. Let's refresh this page, see what we got it installed now. Alright, so there's documents, examples. I hate you. But you know what? If it works, it works. Next. And then there's one more thing we want to check, which is we want to check our services list. Because seriously. If we don't see MySQL service on here, it's never going to work right. Ah, finally, the MySQL service is correctly configured and it's running. Finally. I knew there was an installation problem. Okay, so once that configures examples and samples examples, then we'll be able to install Mumble. And it is almost 4 o'clock, but we started like 20-30 minutes later than 2. It was like 2:30 when we started, which is normal and fine. We start anytime between 2 and 3. If you really want to get to know when the session starts, the best way to do it is to go to followers on the on my profile and click to follow. Because if you click to follow me, I don't care about how many followers I have. I mean, let me rephrase that. I appreciate every single one that follows me, but um, I'm not in it for the numbers. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, I got like 1,000 followers, or I got 10 followers right now. But the point is that by following me, you will get notified. Um, you will get notified when something occurs. Like when I start streaming, you get notified. You get a little email that says so such and such has like started streaming. And I know this because the people that I follow, I get this. Oh, look at there. Now there's a freaking instance of MySQL. Let me go over here, save it to Vault. Click OK. So, a couple things to know about MySQL. Root is the master admin account. Now, you can create a regular admin account and give it effectively all the same permissions and then disable root. And that is what you would do for, like if you're running a server that's going to be connectable. Like right now, my firewall prevents anyone from like connecting into me. Plus, as we go through this process, you're going to see a couple different variations of all this stuff right here. Sequila, Test World, those are all example scripts. So annoying. Information schema and performance schema are default things. But anyway, excuse me. As we go through this process, you're going to see that in order to connect, you need two pieces. Okay, so let's just go to users and privileges. That's the first thing we want to do. Let me just move this off to the side. All right. So we want to add an account. Let's just call it Minecraft. Okay. Or I think MC user. Yeah. And then the password is going to be MC password. Yeah, I know it's a weak password. The authentication type, you can do a couple different things. You can do, don't choose old. Please don't choose old. It's got several security bugs. The 256, it means that it's encrypted with SHA-256 encryption level. SHA-256 is very good. It's much better than... in fact, one of the things we changed recently on our website was the encryption type to make it a more secure encryption because PHP BB3, which is what we used to use for our website, does not use a super secure encryption, and it's almost reversible. MC underscore password. And we apply. Well, I just want to show some. So then you have some like global permissions, right? And you add these right here. So if you want to make a global administrator, this is where you would like add those global administrator privileges by turning on. But we don't want that. So we're going to apply this, and we're going to then move to the next piece, which is you would do it on administrator roles, okay? In this tool. The next thing we want to do is kind of create a new database. Let's see here. Create a new SQL tab for queries. No. It looks like this. There we go. Now, in MySQL world, a schema is a database. Now, if you're using PHPMyAdmin or some sort of like admin tool, unless it's MySQL Workbench, it may not always call it a schema. So we're going to call this one Minecraft. And I'm doing these default names not because I recommend that we do these names, but because in our tutorial, literally I'm going to assign all this stupid stuff into our config file so that it's just automatic. Okay? I'm just going to leave it as server default, which is Latin 1 or UTF-8 usually. Latin 1 allows a lot of different characters. UTF-8. Now, here's the really cool thing. So the next part of this is that it says the actual thing that is running, like a command line. It's showing you the commands that it's running, so you can actually start to learn SQL syntax. And it's a very simple syntax. What do you want to do? I want to create. What do you want to create? I want to create a schema. Okay, what do you want to call it? Minecraft. And then there's a semicolon. By now, after you've seen all the Java stuff, you guys should be like, oh my god, that's pretty much the same. You have some word that, like, you pull out of your butt that you know or you don't know, and then you have a type, you know, it's like the public almost, it's like an action though, create, and then instead of like, you know, you have to literally say create, because you could also delete and other things. But create, when you want to create schema, what is it called? Just like your variables. What type? Here's your type. Here's your name of it. And then, unlike like public or private, like the status, in this case, you like define like action, and that's like the basic syntax of MySQL. So you define groupings and actions and stuff like that to really say what you're doing. Make sure you apply it. And then go back here and go back to your UMC user account and then go to schema privileges and then go add, and then you want to add the schema for Minecraft. And then once you have, you're going to see, well, he has no privileges. Well, for the purposes of our thing, he's going to need to have pretty much everything. Show, what does he not need? He does not need the grant option. He does not need create temporary tables, and he does not need the lock tables. That's for sure. But all these other things, index, create indexes, alter. By the way, all these things right here, all these words right here are all those things. So like create. Then you could also do select, insert, update, delete, execute, show view. I think it's show, not show view. But as we go through it, we'll like go through. Now you could have just done select all. If he has grant option, grant means that he can actually give permission to the database to someone else. Create temporary tables. It's literally as it says. You can create a table that is short-term lived. He might need that, but I don't think in our code it's going to be anything that we're going to use, because usually use that as a, in some code, let's say you wanted to, let's say there wasn't an outside application that was like going to take that. Remember how we talked about first layer, second layer, third layer of like of stuff? Well, let's say we didn't have like a first layer or something, or let's say you want to take data from several different locations, and then you want to all smush them in there. Well, you would create a temporary table, fill it in as you wanted, and then you would take that table and push it somewhere to a permanent location. So we're probably not going to use that. And then finally, lock tables. It's a security thing. So it's actually one of the main differences between Microsoft and MySQL. For years, MySQL did not have a lock function. And this is a while ago. And Microsoft has a built-in default lock option. So that in order to use the table, you, by default for years, they would lock the table into a semi-lock state, and then you could like force a lock state. But the reason they did that was, imagine if you're multi-threading and two different SQL connections come in, right? One's making change A and one's making change B, and those two are changing the same data. So you're like, I'm changing data for user A. I'm also changing data for user A. I'm changing how many points he has. I'm giving him 10 points. Well, I'm changing how many points he has. I'm taking away 10 points. So inherently, you might end up with a user that has 10 less points than he should have, or 10 more points than he should have, if both those things were executed at the same time, but then one was saved and applied a second later. Because if they both loaded the same initial data, and then one ran its SQL query learner, because queries are threaded, so they can go in an order, but they also can multi-thread, so they go at the same time. And then, furthermore, they can have different amounts of steps. So one might have 20 steps to add, and then one might have 10 steps to end. So they load at the same time, but then one finishes before the other one, and therefore the end result is that your total data values are incorrect. You should have the same number at the end of both of those queries. But because of non-locking tables or non-semi-locking tables, MySQL had this thing where they could like literally have wrong data, or worse, corrupted data. It could like screw up the table, and the table's like index could be wrong, and it'd be like, I don't know which one's right, and it'd become corrupt. So they've added features since then over the years to lock tables, but this is a hard lock. It's not a soft lock. So that is actually one of the major benefits of Microsoft SQL. Um, Now, I don't want to talk too much about the other guys because I've kind of stopped using like Oracle's independent database. They kind of use that MySQL, so it's kind of cool. But they used to have their own independent database. Plus, there's this thing called Sybase databases, which my previous experience has had some issues with as well. But anyway, in here you can see your schemas. You can actually like expand your schemas. You can see what your datas are, your tables are, and stuff like that. And if there was any data in here, we can actually talk about how to like look at data and stuff like that. But when you're using the Microsoft SQL Workbench tool, this is for the purposes of what you're using it for. As you start to learn SQL queries, all you need to do is open a new SQL query tab, which is the first thing they open anyway, and you could actually type it. And the syntax should be, see, if it turns blue, it's good. And just like the other ones. Well, what do you want to do? You want to create what? You want to create a comment? You want to create some data? Current timestamp? What do you want to do? I mean, there's if, else, in statements. There's so many things to do. So, most of the time, what I recommend for new people is just Google. Same with languages. Just Google, see what other people are doing, see how people do the same thing that you want to do. Don't copy their code, but then use the ideas and the ways, like not the exact syntax, but conceptually the idea that they have. Because, I mean, it's very rare for you to find, I need to do exact A, and then there's someone who has an example of exact A. Usually you're like, you gotta ask your questions vaguely. So you would be like, MySQL, I want to create table, right? So you're not going to know it's a schema. Maybe that's the issue. So you want to create table, and then you come in here and you like look at the syntax, and you'd be like, so schema is the upper level, and table is actually the lower level. So you actually have multiple tables inside of a schema. I didn't want to get too confused, but like the next step is to create a table. So you can see here, oh, look at the syntax. Create, and then an optional, if it's in brackets, that's optional. Okay? Create a temporary, or if you don't put it there, it's going to be a permanent table. Okay? And then you can actually optionally put the statement if not exist. Now you don't put the brackets. The brackets are just to tell you that that's an option. Okay, so if you were to do this, you would do something like this. Let me bring up the tool. create. Well, what's the next line? Oh yeah, table. We want to create a table. Okay, we create table. Well, you only use if not exists as like a clause to prevent issues. Okay, and then it wants a table name. Well, generally table names get parentheses around them because they're strings, and we know from doing the Java stuff that. Oh, hey Loli. Yeah, this is just a kind of break to you. This is actually a session to, or not just a session, a series to discuss how to create Minecraft plugins. We're actually working on the MySQL data stuff right now so that people can create that backend SQL portion. And then if you look at the other series parts, it's mostly about Eclipse and Java actually writing the code. But we're still doing some of the setup pieces. And this is a setup piece to help people understand the backend, because we're going to use SQL as our backend in our plugin. And I'm clearly coming down with a cold or something. Okay, so strings are generally captured into quotes, and that is so that you know if there's a space, because you could actually call it, even though it may not accept it, something like Minecraft cheese. And then remember, it ends with a semicolon, because statements end with semicolons. Now, because of the syntax error, it's going to tell you, oh, I don't understand spaces. Fab. We are actually working on the back-end portion of our Minecraft plugin tutorial. So we're going over the conversations about the SQL database that we're going to store, because our regular viewers have voted that the first plugin that we're going to create is actually a land management program, which requires some data storing. So let's go ahead and remove. You can either fix this two ways. You can either fix it with an underscore, or you can just remove it altogether. But unexpected text string. Why does it say unexpected text string? It shouldn't. Oh, that's why. Because tables have to follow certain sets. So they're not straight up strings. So and that's the thing, is that it all corrects you. I had forgotten that they're not straight up strings, and it actually told me, oh, it's not a straight up string. So that's how we would create a new table within our scheme. And we would do this not necessarily through here, but when we start to program on the Java side again, what we're going to do is literally use this. We're going to make a connection. And I think we might have enough time today to kind of show what that code kind of looks like. And then we're actually going to insert what's called a statement. And our statement is our query. And if it makes it easier, I can call it a query in the code. But either way, this is what we would actually create a string. This entire thing would become a string. And then we would call it a variable statement. And then we would literally take that statement and input it into our Java code, so that when it runs that method, that function, it would then create the table inside of SQL automatically for us. So we don't want to do this manually. We want to do it through the code, and we most commonly will use if not exist, so that it doesn't keep erroring. Because if it goes to the code and we did not put if not exist, then it would literally create a table for Minecraft the first time with no errors. But then every other time that code is ran, it would try and then error, and it may not keep reading the rest of that statement code, because we might have several lines of code. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into this, because as we go through the other segments, you're going to see so many other parts. And really, it's just going to change how you look at it. But anytime you have a question, you can always come back to MySQL Workbench now that you have it set up, and literally just go through and run a query on, like, you can create a test schema, because I just showed you how to do it, and you could like play with these queries before you put it into your code, because you're going to get a better output here. Just to give you an idea, let's not call it Minecraft. Let's call it users. And then you come up here, and there's two options. You can actually highlight, like if you just want to do one line, or you can actually leave it unhighlighted to run all of it. So And when we run it, it'll actually tell us the object here. And it says, oh, no database has been selected. Well, clearly there's no database selected because we didn't. No. Fab, we do. It's YouTube / the real Fultrum. I accidentally assigned Fultrum to my other channel, so I'm both, but the real Fultrum has the rest of the series on here. So then we go and we think, okay, well, here's the error. What is the way to fix it? Well, we bring up back our browser, which I just closed, and we would literally just look it up. And once again, MySQL create table. And we go back to the dev site, and oh look, we look. How do we define our thing? I mean, there's got to be something in there. And I'll tell you the answer. Just to save time, the actual statement is going to be a select statement. So we're going to add a little bit more into it. We would be like select Minecraft. Oh look, it already knows that we have a thing in there. And then we want to create a table. Spaces and caps are important in some cases. And that's, I'm not going to go into this piece too much, but that's actually the thing. So you select your table. There's clearly a, there you go. And each of those is two different statements. So now we would run both statements, and it would give us a different error. Unknown column Minecrafted field. So we could go through this process in here and keep troubleshooting, but I'm only showing you this so I can give you different errors so that you can see how easy it is to find the error. And then literally, if you wanted to, instead of just Googling the thing, you could actually Google the error itself, error code 1054, and find additional information about it. Error 1054 MySQL unknown column. There we go. While that's going on, I'll type this up. youtube.com/therealfultrum. Okay. And then you can go through this problem and troubleshoot. Now, look at there, create table, and this is actually stuff you can fill in, and you can actually add sorts and stuff like that. But that's why there's actually stuff missing, because we haven't defined any table data. So the next part for this would be we actually have to define some table data. And once again, I don't want to go into it. I just wanted to show you how you could troubleshoot through the process to get to the end result that you need to. We're actually in the process of making a mod right now, Fab. The one that we're doing right now is a multi one, but we're starting with land management. Let me retry that because I can finish my mumble install. So let's kind of go back to Eclipse. And honestly, Fab, if you watch, we're on episode 4 right now. And I just did a review, which will be uploaded to YouTube soon, for reviews of session 1 through 3. So instead of watching 6 hours of video, you only watch like an hour of video. But we've gone through setting up Eclipse so far. We've gone through how to get Java and JDKs. We've gone into how to set up the thing and actually load. We talked about how to set up a test server in Minecraft already. Today we went over the MySQL stuff, because obviously when you have, we also talked about hash maps in Java code, because we're going to be using lots of hash maps. The next piece in this puzzle is really getting all this kind of put together, because we've been talking about the individual components, the plugin, the Minecraft server, the MySQL. So I'm probably going to be cutting off the session almost now, and you guys are just rolling at the last minute. I highly recommend that you subscribe. The The Minecraft sessions are done on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. They start at sometime between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. At least right now they do. Let's see here. Sorry, Mumble's the thing that we use for communicating, and I'm sure several of our people. Okay. Let me close this out. I will no longer need my space. And that may load slow. Oh, there it goes. It's copying new files now. So once the so tomorrow, which tomorrow I guess is really Tuesday. Tuesday we're going to be covering. Now that we've actually got the SQL backend started and we got all those files set up, we are now going to talk about on Tuesday how to get it's actually Java, not JavaScript. They're slightly different. I appreciate it, Sub or Fab. It's the whole reason I'm doing this series is so that people who have just basic questions about plugins can have an opportunity to get them answered. Because when I first started doing Minecraft plugins, the only source was really the forums and the IRC channel. And I mean, the people there are so smart and they know so much stuff, but they're a little bit of elitist in that you ask dumb questions and then they're like, well, that's a dumb question, I'm not going to help you. But it's all about, like, you just don't understand. Like, you're not familiar with Java, or you're not familiar with SQL, or you're not familiar with plugin setups. And so our plugin is Maven. It's made public. If you go to github.com/Fultrum, you'll actually be able to see, and actually while this is doing whatever it's assigned to learn, we're almost done here anyway, so I might as well show you. You can actually see the series set here, github.com/. So the example is Fultrum test, but Fultrum's the main one that you want to go to. So on Fultrum test, you'll actually be able to see the KOTC tutorial, which is the one that we're doing right now, and the guide will already show you how close. Oh, not loaded yet, so we got more time. You can actually see how we've gotten to this point through the previous videos on YouTube. And then when you're ready, you'll actually see in the instructions in there how to create your own fork. So you would actually come up here after you create your own account, you would fork it. This would then, I mean, obviously I can't fork my own. Am I logged in as myself? Oh yeah. So then you would create your own fork. It would then populate a copy of this, and then you'd be able to work on a copy of it. And you could actually then push, well, I call it push, they call it pull, because it makes more sense as push. Pull the data, and then you pull the data from your code and you push it into mine, and then I would get a recommendation for it, and you'd be able to see like that it's been contributed by, who it's been contributed by and the comments and stuff like that. There should be a Fultrum test in here. I might have, oh yeah, here we go. See, during an example we showed you guys how it works on my end. So once you guys pull it over, I then accept it, and then it actually can fix bugs. And that's allows you, because you can actually go to, for example, let's see here, bucket, Craft Bucket, here we go. And you could actually create your own fork of Craft Bucket and fix bugs of theirs, because it's all the same. The plugin and the actual server code, it's all Java. It's all Java, baby. And so then you can actually go in there and create your own fork, fix a bug, pull it, push to them, and make the recommendation for the fix. And then, in fact, that's how the current developers have become developers. So, like, once you learn how to make your own plugin, if you get better, then you can become part of the CraftBucket team. You know, because you constantly are giving them fixes for things because you have your own version. Um, they build for Java 6, clearly. I build for Java 7. Java 7's better. Java 8's still in the works, so. And that is it for that. And then when you load this, you can actually see we don't have a lot of code in here. In fact, we just kind of streamed out a bunch of code during the review the other day. But all the setup here is there, and the discussions are there. So we're going to end because it's just after 4, and I don't want these sessions to go really longer than 2 hours because then I can't upload them to YouTube as one session. So we're going to wrap it up, and just a reminder, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 2 to 3 p.m. Start time. We go for about 2 hours, and then the videos are later available on YouTube. I don't necessarily highlight them on Twitch, but I do upload them to YouTube on a regular basis. And thank you for watching. If you subscribe, thank you for subscribing, and I will see you all later. Oh, there is also another series session where we do late night gaming. Currently, I'm working on Assassin's Creed 4, and that occurs late at night for just the drunken debauchery and fun of it. Alright, thank you very much, and talk to you soon.